The actor I chose to study was Joaquin Phoenix. And I chose Joaquin Phoenix for a couple of reasons. He often gives believable performances and he impresses his critics with films like Walk the Line, I'm Still Here, and most recently, The Joker. Uh, One of the more interesting facts about Joaquin Phoenix is he's never really had any formal training. He was discovered as a child star around the age of 8 years old, and at that point in time, he was going under the name Leaf Phoenix. He changed that when he got older. Um, so you could argue that a lot of his training came from on-the-job experience. Despite this lack of formal training, it becomes pretty evident when looking at his career that Joaquin Phoenix approached acting using the method technique. Take, for instance, while studying for his role in Walk the Line as Johnny Cash, he actually learned how to play the guitar and sing, which just shows how important physicality is to him as an actor. Because he could have easily have faked it, but anybody that knows how to play the guitar would have been able to tell, and it sort of would have taken at least that particular audience out of the experience. And by learning the guitar, it really lended to the overall immersion in the film. Again, you can see this dedication to his craft through some of the ways that he behaved on the set of Walk the Line. He insisted that the cast and crew call him JR instead of Joaquin because it just didn't feel right. And during the Folsom prison scenes, he would insist that the cast and crew refer to the extras as inmates and that they would be treated as if they were actually prisoners in Folsom Prison. And looking at some of his other films like The Joker, you start to notice some of the same patterns in the way he approaches acting. Even though that film was made 14 years later, you can still see how important physicality is to him as an actor. In an interview, he's quoted as saying, "The first thing was the weight loss. That's really what I started with. As it turns out, that impacts your psychology, and you really start to go mad when you lose that much weight in that amount of time." And another thing he did on set was he kept a little journal that kind of like jokes or things that the Joker might find amusing to really get him into his character, which is actually another thing another method actor, Heath Ledger, did to get into the role of the Joker. He famously kept a journal of all these crazy, perverse thoughts that the Joker might have. And in I'm Still Here, he really started to blur the lines between what was performance art and film. Before anybody knew that he was filming this movie, he announced that he was retiring from acting in order to pursue a life as a rapper, going so far as having a set in Las Vegas. During this time, he appeared on David Letterman's show, and he was a very different, stoic Joaquin Phoenix, very unkempt. Something we never really seen before out of him. He mumbled throughout his whole time on the show and didn't really seem that he cared to be there and promote his film. Of course, it was after that we found out that all of this weird behavior that we had seen was for the film I'm Still Here. This whole time he had cameras following him, staying in character throughout every day of his life, which is really probably the best example of why I consider Joaquin Phoenix a method actor.